Welcome back to the Presence of Being podcast. Thank you for being here and for listening and just for being a part of our community. I was just looking back at some journal entries that I'd made over the course of the year, reflecting on certain things that I learned, certain things that made an impact on me and my mindset, and just as one does, just looking ahead to 2025, looking ahead to the new year. And if you're listening to this, it probably is the new year by now. So happy new year. I hope that you have a happy, healthy, successful year. I know we all have our own definition of success, but whatever success means for you, I hope that you achieve the things that you see for yourself and the things that you want. And this year is good to you. But like I said, I was just looking over some journal entries and just reflecting on things and taking some important lessons that I learned, applying it to this new year, how I want to implement certain things and go about certain things. And I came across this journal entry that I wrote in October. I just want to read it and talk about it. Hopefully this can help in some way to somebody listening. What I wrote down was, center yourself and be aware, conscious of yourself, how you operate. See yourself, see reality, have awareness, recenter and realign whenever you need to. And then in the next line, I just wrote, silence, be still, realign, and watch how peaceful, aligned, connected, and pure you feel and act. And I had all that in capitals to hopefully emphasize the things that I'm saying. And I was just reading that and I'm like, damn, like that's really powerful. Whenever I get stressed out or I just too attached to things that are going on, or maybe I start comparing myself, as you know, I just think we all do. And I've made many recordings talking about this, but just in the world that we live in today with social media, it is so easy to compare yourself to everybody else and what everyone else is doing and how everyone else is doing and what people have. And personally, when I am at a point where I just get too lost in that, recentering, realigning myself and just focusing my energy and attention on the here and now is really, really beneficial to me. Just being conscious of myself and how I'm feeling internally, where my head is at, where my thoughts are at, and just bringing my awareness back to my center, back to my core. And I can wholeheartedly say that whenever I do that, I feel so much better. And if you're someone who tends to compare themselves to other people, or you're someone who is constantly judging themselves and stressing, maybe they aren't exactly in the places that they want to be in, or you are just negative, recenter yourself, realign yourself in the present moment whenever you need to. And I know in my last few recordings, I've spoken about meditation and having a solid meditation practice that you do, having time for yourself where you can sit in silence for 5, 10, 15, 20, however long minutes, or even an hour if you can. Obviously, if you're a beginner, I don't expect anyone to sit still for an hour without moving. And, but 15 minutes, I don't think that's a lot. If you're a beginner, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, definitely not a significant amount of time if you're just getting into meditation. But the point I'm trying to make is not everyone has time to do that as they're going throughout the day. If you feel stressed or you feel too attached to what's going on around you, not everyone can find some private space to sit in meditation. Of course not. People are living their lives, going throughout their day at work, at school, doing whatever it is they're doing. So what I like to incorporate into my daily life as I'm working or as I'm interacting with people, doing whatever, is just having little pockets of presence as I'm going throughout the day, as I like to call them, and just recentering myself or realigning myself in the present moment whenever I get lost, whenever I get too attached to things going on, whenever I start comparing myself to other people. And these pockets of presence, all they really mean is just taking a deep breath, and recentering yourself. Seeing yourself and seeing reality. And what do I mean by seeing yourself, seeing reality? I just mean take a deep breath and feel into your body. Like, how are you feeling? Are you feeling tense? Are you feeling stressed? Feel into your body. Take a deep breath, look around, and then see what's going on around you. Like, actually be fully here and just notice everything that's going on around you. Conscious of yourself and conscious of everything else. Fully in the moment. Don't judge anything that's going on. Don't label it like mentally. Just be aware of everything that's going on. See yourself, see reality, have awareness. Recenter yourself. Bring your awareness back to your center whenever you need to. However many times you need to, whenever it is you feel like you get too lost, or too connected to certain things, too attached to outcomes, you feel like you aren't enjoying the process anymore. This can happen one time a day. This can happen 20 times a day. This can happen 100 times a day. However many times you need to, bring yourself back to your center. Be still, realign, and watch how peaceful, aligned, connected, and pure you feel and act. We all, I think, at least have some vague idea of how we want to show up. We have some vague idea of what our values, our principles, our morals are. And the more present we become, the more aligned we become, the more we bring our attention back to our center and we see ourselves, we see reality, we see what's going on around us, how we feel internally. The more I think we're able to act in accordance with those values, those standards, those principles that we set. Obviously, I highly recommend you get clear about what those values and standards and principles are so you're able to always show up in alignment with those standards, for example, that you've gone clear on. But I feel like internally, deep within ourselves, everyone has at least some vague idea of how they want to be, how they want to show up. And when you start doing things that are more in alignment with those standards, you feel good. And when you start doing things that probably aren't really in alignment, you kind of feel a bit shitty. And when you're still and you're present and you take those you take those pockets of presence, you take a deep breath as you're going throughout the day and you realign yourself in the now. Like I said, your ability to act in accordance with those values, those principles, those standards, it's heightened. It's increased. It's just being conscious in the now instead of getting lost in everything that's going on outside of you. And it's not easy. And you're going to catch yourself sometimes when we're comparing yourself to other people or you're just too attached to certain outcomes. You're going to catch yourself being, oh, here I go again. And it's just about incorporating that pocket of presence, recentering yourself, realigning yourself in the now, being conscious of yourself and what's going on around you, and realizing, okay, I'm drifting here. Let's reconnect and then take a deep breath and then continue on with the rest of my day and show up how I ultimately want to show up in a way that's in alignment with those standards that I've set for myself. In a recording that I made in September, I believe, I actually think I made that recording on my birthday, but it's called A Clear Mission Doesn't Always Have a Clear Path, something along those lines. And I think it relates to this recording. Sometimes you're not going to know what direction to take. You may have a clear aim of who it is you want to be, how you want to show up, what those standards are, but you don't necessarily know what steps to take to get there. You don't know what the correct direction to go in is. And that could be frustrating. You can feel like you're facing a lot of resistance when you don't know what direction to go in. You may feel like things are kind of getting out of control. You may get too attached to the outcome when you don't know what direction to go in. And in those moments, catch yourself, take a deep breath, incorporate that pocket of presence if you can, and recenter yourself, realign yourself in the present moment, refocus, and then carry on. It's just about being conscious and not letting yourself get too out of control, because we can spiral and start to identify ourselves and attach ourselves to those negative thoughts when we don't catch ourselves in the moment. It can just it can compound negatively when we don't have that pocket of presence, when we don't allow ourselves to recenter ourselves, realign ourselves. And you don't want that to happen. The more often we do realign ourselves, recenter ourselves, call attention to our center and see ourselves, see reality, and allow ourselves to just be in the moment, the easier it's going to be, or I guess I should say the quicker we're able to catch ourselves when we do lose control or attach ourselves too much to the outcome or get too lost in what's going on outside of us. So I genuinely hope that this video has provided some sort of value in any possible way to whoever is listening to this. I know that this has made a positive impact on me. And like I said at the very beginning of this episode, just going over some old journal entries that I've made this past year and taking some things with me into the new year, things that I can continue to work on and reflect upon just as the new year rolls around, things that can hopefully make a positive impact on me and my new year. And I highly recommend this is something that you try before entering 2025. I have a great feeling about this year. I really do. I think this is going to be a special year, and I'm wishing you all the best this year. I hope this year brings you a ton of success too, and sending that good energy your way. But if you haven't yet, list out a couple goals that you have for 2025, visualize it, see it, feel it. And if you haven't yet, look over your 2024. I plan on this recording being out in the first couple of days of 2025. So ideally you've already done this, but if you haven't yet, look over your 2024. If you don't journal, I highly recommend journaling because this practice will be a lot easier if you do journal. You'll be able to see what you are thinking at certain points throughout the year. If you date your journal entries, whether you write it on your computer, you type it out on your computer, or you write it by hand on like a notepad or something like that. But if you don't do that, look at your photos. What kind of things were you up to? What kind of things are you grateful for? What lessons did you learn throughout this year that you can take with you into this new year to make 2025 a fantastic year? Recenter yourself, refocus, realign whenever you need to, however many times you need to. Have that pocket of presence as you're going throughout the day, and I think it can really help. So that's the message that I wanted to get across in this recording. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for being part of Presence of Being, and I will see you in the next recording very soon.